Most people think they know what life in the Soviet Union was like. They imagine gray buildings, silent streets, and fear in every corner. But the truth was quieter, stranger, and far more tiring. It was not a movie scene filled with spies and secrets. It was a slow, daily struggle that began the moment people opened their eyes each morning. It is early morning in Leningrad. 1953. The city is still dark, and winter sits heavy in the air. A young man wakes up in a single small room that his family calls home. Stalin has just died, but nothing feels different yet. His presence still lingers in the walls, in the silence. In the rules everyone follows without speaking them out loud. The room is cold. The heating works when it wants to, not when people need it. His breath forms small clouds as he sits up in bed. The blanket is thin, so his family piles coats on top of it at night. His back aches from sleeping on a bed that also serves as a couch during the day. There is no comfort here, only routine. Before his eyes fully open, his ears are already busy. Pots clatter in the shared kitchen. Two neighbors argue quietly about missing sugar. A toilet flush echoes through old pipes that groan like they are in pain. A baby cries somewhere down the hall. The walls are thick, but the doors are thin. And sound travels easily in this place. His family is lucky by local standards. They have their own room, not an apartment, just one room about the size of a small garage. This single space is where they sleep, eat, store their belongings, and welcome guests. Privacy does not exist. Wanting it would seem selfish, even dangerous. He swings his legs to the floor and dresses quickly. His clothes hang from hooks on the wall. There is no closet. There is no space for one. His parents are already awake. His mother quietly heats water on a small electric burner that is not allowed but used by everyone. His father has already left to stand in the bread line before sunrise. The morning challenge waits outside the door. The bathroom, 8 families share one bathroom. Everyone knows the rules, though none are written down. Each family gets about 15 minutes. Too early means freezing water. Too late means standing in line and being late for work. Timing matters more than comfort. He picks up his small toiletry bag and towel and opens the door carefully so it does not squeak. An angry neighbor this early can ruin an entire day. The hallway is long and dim, lit by a single yellow bulb. The wooden floor once belonged to a wealthy family before the revolution. Now it is worn smooth by decades of footsteps. The bathroom door is closed. He joins the line behind Dmitry Petrovich, a factory foreman with tired eyes and gray stubble. Dmitry nods without smiling. Someone is inside. Probably the old widow, who always takes too long. This is normal. Waiting is part of life here. While they stand, the young man glances toward the kitchen schedule posted on the wall. Each family has assigned cooking times to avoid arguments. The kitchen is shared, but every family guards its small space. Shelves in the refrigerator are marked. Cabinets are divided. Some families have installed their own burners to avoid fights. Finally, the bathroom door opens. Steam escapes as the elderly woman steps out. No one complains. Complaints change nothing. The young man steps inside. The bathroom is basic and worn. A cracked sink, stained bathtub with a shower attachment, a toilet with a chain pull. Today, the water is warm. That alone feels like good luck. He washes quickly, watching the clock, knowing others are waiting. 7 minutes. 8. He leaves before anyone knocks. Back in the room, his mother hands him a cup of strong black tea and a bowl of buckwheat porridge with a small spoon of sugar. Sugar is precious. He eats, standing up. His mother mentions a rumor that oranges might appear at the local food shop. The word feels unreal. Oranges mean celebration. He puts on his heavy wool coat and checks his reflection in the small mirror. By the door, clean, Simple, practical. Fashion does not matter here. Function does. Outside the apartment, the stairwell smells faintly of cabbage and tobacco. The elevator has not worked in years, so he walks down 5 flights of stairs. Outside, cold air hits his face. The sky is gray and a light drizzle falls. People move quickly, heads down, collars raised. At the tram stop, workers crowd together for warmth. When the tram arrives, it is already full, but somehow everyone fits. Bodies press close, and no one speaks. The city passes by through fogged windows. Grand old buildings divided into communal apartments. New blocks built quickly after the war. Posters promise progress and happiness. Inside the tram, faces look tired but calm. Everyone has work. Everyone has a place. Security exists, but comfort does not. When he steps off near the factory, smokestacks rise into the sky. The Kirov works stretch out before him, loud and alive. He shows his papers at the gate and joins the flow of workers heading inside. Machines roar. Metal screams. Oil and sweat fill the air. He takes his place at his machine, adjusts his tools, and begins another day. The rhythm of work takes over. Outside, history moves slowly. Inside, life continues, one careful morning at a time. By midday, the factory has swallowed the young man completely. The noise becomes normal after a while. The pounding machines stop sounding loud and start sounding steady, almost comforting. His hands move without thought, shaping metal parts. Again and again, each piece must be exact. Mistakes bring questions, and questions bring trouble. The factory horn finally sounds for lunch. 10 minutes. Not a break meant for rest, just enough time to eat and breathe. Workers gather in small groups, wiping grease from their hands. Some light cigarettes. Others sit quietly, staring at the floor. Talking too much at work is never wise. The factory cafeteria smells of cabbage soup and boiled meat. The food is simple but filling. He takes his tray and sits on a wooden bench beside coworkers he has known for years. They talk softly about rumors. Someone heard winter boots might arrive at the department store next week. Another mentions a cousin in Moscow who claims life there is improving. No one raises their voice. Walls have ears, even here. After lunch, the machines start again. The afternoon drags. The air grows thick, and sweat mixes with oil. Time moves slowly until, suddenly, it does not. The final horn sounds, and the shift ends. Tools are cleaned. Machines are shut down. Another day completed. Outside, the sky has darkened. The tram ride home feels longer in the evening. Everyone looks more tired now. No one pushes. No one complains. Survival has taught patience. Back at the communal apartment, the hallway buzzes with life. Someone is cooking cabbage. Someone else is washing laundry in a metal basin. Children run barefoot despite the cold. The young man slips into his family's room and removes his coat. His father is home, sitting at the table with bread wrapped in paper. The bread is still warm. That alone lifts the mood. Dinner is quiet. Bread, soup, tea. They eat slowly. His mother speaks about a neighbor, questioned by officials last week. No one knows why. They never do. The young man listens and nods, careful not to ask too many questions. After dinner, the family sits close together. The radio plays softly. Music, then news. Always good news. Production up, enemies failing. The future bright. No one comments. They have learned the difference between words and life. Night in the communal apartment is never truly quiet. Doors open and close. Someone laughs. Someone cries. Somewhere, an argument flares and fades. The young man lies on the bed that will become a couch by morning. Sleep comes slowly. Years pass like this. By the early 1960s, things begin to change. The fear that once filled every room softens, though it never disappears. The young man is no longer young. He has worked faithfully, avoided trouble, followed rules. One day, his name appears on a list. He has been approved for a new apartment. In Moscow, the move feels unreal. The new building is plain and boxy, one of many rising quickly across the city. 5 stories tall, no decorations. But inside, there is something he has never had before, a door that belongs only to him. A bathroom that no one else uses, kitchen where no one watches the clock. The first morning in the new apartment feels strange. There is no line for the bathroom, no arguing voices, no pounding on the door. He washes his face slowly, just because he can. The silence feels loud. His commute now leads through the Moscow metro. The stations are bright and beautiful, decorated with marble, lights, and art. It feels like traveling through a palace underground. The trains arrive on time. People stand. Close, but the mood is calmer. Moscow feels larger, faster, heavier. At the new factory, he is no longer just a worker. He supervises others. He watches quotas, paperwork, and machines that break too often. He learns quickly that plans sent from above rarely match reality below. When parts run short, he relies on favors. When numbers fall behind, reports are adjusted. Everyone knows. No one says it out loud. At home, evenings are quieter. He listens to the radio. Sometimes he reads. Sometimes he sits and does nothing at all. This private space feels like a gift, but also a responsibility. Privacy brings freedom, but also isolation. By the late 1960s, a new generation is growing up in these apartments. Children who never lived in communal rooms. Children who know bathrooms as private spaces, not battlegrounds. One of them is a girl named Natasha. Natasha wakes up to an alarm clock, not shouting neighbors. Her small bedroom holds a desk, a bed, and shelves filled with books. She wears a school uniform and a red pioneer scarf tied neatly at her neck. At school, she stands with her classmates and recites promises of loyalty. The words feel important, even if she does not fully understand them yet. Her days are full. Math, science, history, taught one way, without questions. Teachers are strict, but proud. Education matters here. Knowledge is power, but only when used. Correctly after school, Natasha joins clubs, choir practice, sports, group activities planned carefully. The state watches children closely, shaping them into good citizens. Natasha does not resist. This is simply how life is. At home, her parents talk quietly in the kitchen at night. The kitchen is where real conversations happen. Tea is poured, curtains are drawn, voices lower. Natasha hears only pieces, but she senses the difference between public truth and private thought. She grows older, smarter, more aware. She studies hard and earns her place at a university. She believes in the future, but not blindly. She has learned how to live between lines, like everyone else. The country looks strong from the outside. Inside, people adapt, compromise, and carry on. Life is not a nightmare. It is not a dream. It is something in between, and the years keep moving forward. By the time Natasha reaches her 30s, the rhythm of life feels fixed in place. The country feels stable on the surface, but something underneath has slowed. People still go to work. Children still go to school. Trams still run on time. Yet, fewer people believe the promises they hear every day. Natasha now lives alone in her own small apartment in Moscow. It took years on a waiting list, but it finally came. The apartment is plain, but it is hers. The walls are thin. The kitchen, it's small. The furniture looks like everyone else's furniture. Still, it feels like freedom. Her mornings begin quietly. Tea boils on the stove. The radio hums in the background. News speaks of success and strength. Natasha listens without reacting. She has learned to separate sound from meaning. She dresses and leaves for work, joining the steady flow into the metro. She works as an engineer at a research institute. The building is old. The equipment is older. Much of it should have been replaced years ago. Reports speak of progress, but the reality is repair, reuse, and improvisation. Natasha does her job well. She takes pride in her work, even when the system makes it harder than it needs to be. At work, conversations stay careful. Jokes are quiet. Complaints are vague. Everyone knows where the lines are. After hours, the tone changes. In kitchens and living rooms, people speak more honestly. They talk about shortages, about machines that never arrive, about friends who left for other cities, about children who ask difficult questions. Evenings are when life feels most real. Natasha often meets friends in apartments like hers. Coats pile up by the door. Shoes are removed. Tea flows endlessly. Sometimes there is cake, made from whatever ingredients could be found that week. Sometimes there is music played softly from a cassette passed hand to hand. They talk about books, films, and memories. They talk about childhoods shaped by rules and routines. They talk about hopes, but carefully. Big dreams feel dangerous. Small ones feel safer. Television plays in the background, mostly ignored. The same faces, the same speeches, the same tone. Everyone listens just enough to know what is being said, not enough to believe it. By the early 1980s, waiting has become part of everything. Waiting for goods, waiting for repairs, waiting for change that never seems to come. Life is not terrible, but it feels heavy, like a long pause that never ends. Natasha visits her parents often. They are older now. Her apartment is filled with memories. They speak less about politics and more about health, neighbors, and the past. They remember communal apartments and cold mornings and bread lines. Compared to that, they say, life is better now. They are not wrong. In 1985, new words. Enter everyday conversation. Openness, change, restructuring. At first, they sound like slogans. Then slowly, things begin to shift. Newspapers print stories they never would have printed before. People speak a little louder. Questions are asked out in the open. Some feel excited. Others feel afraid. Natasha feels both. Shops grow emptier before they grow fuller. Rules loosen before replacements appear. Certainty fades. Old structures weaken. New ones are unclear. Life becomes less predictable. By the end of the decade, the world Natasha has always known begins to crack. The system that shaped her childhood, her education, her work, starts to fall apart. People argue openly now. Some celebrate. Some mourn. Many feel lost. Then, one day, it is over. The Soviet Union no longer exists. There is no parade. No clear ending, just a quiet realization that something enormous has slipped away. Life continues, but everything feels unfamiliar. Prices change. Jobs disappear. Choices appear where there were none before. Natasha stands at her window one evening, looking out at the city. Moscow is still there. The buildings remain. The metro still runs. But the meaning of everything has changed. She thinks about her parents. Stories about communal kitchens and shared bathrooms. About lines and patience. About learning when to speak and when to stay silent. She thinks about her own life, shaped by rules that no longer exist. Life in the Soviet Union was not one thing. It was not only fear. It was not only hope. It was routine, compromise, community, and quiet endurance. It was people finding normal life inside an unnatural system. As night falls, Natasha prepares for sleep. Tomorrow will bring another kind of uncertainty. But tonight, like every night before it, she closes her eyes knowing she lived through something. Most people only know from stories, and slowly she drifts to sleep.